Okay, we will begin our HPC meeting at this time. Elisa, will you please call roll?
Yes, ma'am. Chairman Langley.
Here.
Vice Chair Price.
Here.
Ms. Davis. Here. Mr. Hunt.
Here.
And Ms. Kirkpatrick.
Okay, a quorum is established. We do not have any minutes from our last meeting to approve, but we do have one item on the agenda, a certificate of appropriateness for a new sign, Dog Days, 148 First Street, Chris Glover, petitioner. And I do believe the sign has already been erected, so if you're not aware of that. Mr. Duke, would you mind just going ahead and coming forward and prefacing us regarding this?
Sure. I'll go ahead and remind everyone that y'all's meetings are being recorded for the city's website, or they'll show up on the city's YouTube site shortly after y'all's meetings. So when you're speaking, if you could, make sure that you turn the mics on and a little red light comes on. That way your comments are picked up for the video. Item on your agenda today is for certificate of appropriateness for the structure or the site at 148 First Street. And the request is for a sign or a replacement sign, replacement freestanding sign to be located in the front of the building. The sign that's being requested has already been installed, and they're here before you trying to comply with city ordinance, both for permit and also for certificate of appropriateness in the historic district. The sign that is installed or requested is a 4-by-6 foot aluminum sign mounted on wooden post at 7 foot tall. For your information in the staff report, it's listed there the requirements for signs. It's also found on page 34 of your residential requirements. And you can see there that the standards that are required. I'll be glad to provide more information at this point or wait until the petitioner's had a chance to talk to you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Duke at this point? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Glover? If you'll come and sign in with Ms. Morgan before you speak, please. Thank you for coming today. Basically, what we would like you to do is just to tell us the dynamics of the sign, that sort of thing. We do have pictures. How long has it been erected, Mr. Glover?
It was right after Christmas. One of my customers actually ran it over, and it was actually replaced in the same wording. And I do apologize. I did not know I'd had to come before y'all, or I would have had that done.
Thank you. Now, is the replacement sign, is it the same size as the original sign?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, exactly, but it's just turned up the other way. As far as height, I have no way to know. The other one was the same height. It was turned and made, instead of upright.
Okay. Longer than wider then?
Well, it was the same one, just flipped.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Are there any questions for Mr. Glover?
This sign is made out of what? This sign is made out of a vinyl, is that correct?
It's aluminum with vinyl lettering. Yes, ma'am.
Is the framing, what's the frame?
Wood, yes, sir.
Okay.
And it's got, the wood little bracket, the metal brackets holding it on,
Okay.
of course.
And the erection of this sign required a building permit and a zoning review, is that correct?
No, ma'am, I'm not sure. I can't answer you that, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Duke, did it?
An application, I believe. It said I was supposed to apply for, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead and finish your answer.
It said I was on the letter I received, I was supposed to apply for a permit and have it reviewed in front of you guys before it was put up. But personally, I thought, the sign guy was supposed to have had that, known that that would be needed to be done. And if I'd have known that, it would have been put in front of y'all for sure.
No, I was asking about the zoning review.
Yes, ma'am. It really is just a standard building permit review. Is they check the zoning ordinance as well, and there's a little out of compliance with the zoning with the height, and that can be adjusted. It's really what like all signs and all changes to the structure here. They're talking about the appearance of the sign and the materials that are used for construction. So, but if y'all approve it, we'll have to make some adjustments in the location and the height to comply with zoning. Yes, ma'am. You actually do. You have to have.
And I've spoken with the guy who put it up, and he's more than willing to make all the adjustments that needed to be done.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions at this time for Mr. Glover? You can have a seat. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone here at this time that would like to speak for or against this request? Thank you. Are there any other questions? Is there a motion from the commission at this time?
Is the person that is going to, that put the sign up, would he replace the sign, the wooden, would he make, if we wanted it to be wooden, would he do that?
I'm sure he would. I don't know if I would have to pay the extra cost, but, whatever needs to be done to comply with whatever y'all want, it'll be done. We only did it metal. It's because of the wear, of course, and
Right.
we figured it would wear a lot better than the other one because, and it really not the replacement of it because, the last one lasts a good 10 years since we've bought it. And, and it just got raggedy looking. And I just assumed something, personally, me and him, when we discussed it, we assumed something that was going to wear a little better.
The other one was wooden.
It was wooden with vinyl, but it was vinyl all the way, and it was peeling at the bottom, and it had to be repaired pretty often, as far as to keep it from peeling up, because of the of the nature of plywood soaking up and turning up.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I need a little bit more clarification. What needs to be done to put this within the standards? Could you kind of 1, 2, 3 this for me, Mr. Duke?
Ms. Davis, let me just note for you the standard that, or your guideline that is really not met here is number 2, where it talks about the using historically appropriate materials and really looking for wood, glass, copper, or bronze. Of course, obviously, copper and bronze are some type of metal, but your standards are really looking for something that's is not as ornate as you might see with a modern sign. I think if you look at your guidelines, you'll note that, for instance, the sign that's out front of the Scott House here behind City Hall is shown as an example of an acceptable sign or something like that. But that's not to say you don't have metal signs in the district. It's really looking at how much of an impact you expect that to have. Does it deviate seriously from your guidelines? But just a strict reading of your guidelines, that's the only area it deviates. The sign is, in my opinion, kept to a minimum to provide the information that's needed to show the business there. It's in proportion to the property, except for the height, which can be adjusted. Simplicity, it's a pretty simple design, and it's not several colors, it's not backlit, it's pretty basic design. So the only standard that would have to be really met is that second item. Now, as far as bringing into compliance with zoning, the sign is too high for its location relative to the street. They can certainly just lower it where it is and down to about 6 feet, which is just taking the post a little lower, and they'd be in compliance with zoning as well.
Ms. Duke, on this second option requiring the addition of a wooden frame, are you talking about all the way around the sign?
Basically, I was trying to suggest to you that something that might soften the look of the metal. Now, that's just an opinion on my part. We haven't dealt with a whole lot of signs. I'm not sure exactly where y'all are headed with your feeling on signs and the composition. But a little thicker border of wood, something that would kind of soften the look of the metal somewhat. I'm not sure if that's even possible. It looks like they have it kind of framed in wood, and I think I'm correct in saying that it's got a wooden border. Okay. I'm sorry. Post. That's what I thought. Because I mean, I didn't recall that being wood when I looked at it, but I thought I could have been mistaken. But if something to kind of frame it a little better might be a possibility. But that's just an option, looking at maybe accommodating the sign they already have now instead of having to go back and replace it.
And these are wood posts?
Yes, they are wood posts. They've been painted kind of a high gloss, and so it looks like it. If you look at the photograph, it looks like it might be metal, but they are wood.
Any other questions? Lenore?
Are you suggesting, Joel, that if they put a wooden frame further around the bit, like top and bottom,
Yeah, almost
that
like
the existing sign would be an acceptable thing? The face of it.
I'm offering that as an option for this board. Now, that would mean that for future consideration, you would be open to having some type of simple metal panel like presented in the district, and that would be something y'all would have to kind of talk about. That's not a major deviation from your guidelines.
And then also lowering it.
Certainly, lowering it is going to be required by the zoning ordinance, and that's not something that y'all have to really
Is this
talk
in
about.
the same location where the old one was that was hit? Yes, ma'am. I thought so.
Basically,
Yeah.
I think it was mounted just a little bit higher.
And it was taller.
Yeah, and so,
That's-
I mean, this one's a little higher than the one that was there. But again, like I said, that's easily adjusted. And once they get this approval or some approval from this board, then we'll go back and review their permit completely. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank y'all.
Okay, is there a recommendation or a motion to be made at this time?
I make a motion that we approve a certificate of appropriateness with one addition, and that is to add a top and bottom border, wooden border to match the posts.
Okay, a motion has been made with a bit of changing there. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and it has been approved. So I think that was a good compromise between the two. Come on up to the front. You can.
When you say to match the board or the post, would you like it to be glossy black as well across the top and bottom with the wood?
I would think
Is that
so,
what
to
you're,
match.
is that what you're
Mhm.
at? Okay. No problem.
Just
Thank
to-
you.
Just to make sure is that would be like a piece of wood U-shaped that we could slide over the top and bottom and affix to the sign to where it would just slide over the edges? So it would look
That's-
like it would encase it, and it would be flat?
On both sides.
Okay,
Mhm.
just flat, square like the posts? No beveling or anything?
Mr. Hunt, would you like to? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think what I envisioned, from this was something probably the width of the post.
Okay.
It wouldn't necessarily have to be the same thickness across, but maybe it would be. But if you notch that, if you set it so it's just right up against the edge, then that's probably going to give us the effect that we're talking about. Something that looks more like a panel.
4 inches like the
If you
post.
do that at the bottom and notch that, you're going to have a water pool, and so if you don't, if you just leave that flat and bring it right up to it, that'll weather better.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, that was our new business. We have no old business to discuss. Mr. Duke, is there anything else that we need to talk about tonight?
Not unless y'all have questions for me.
Well, I am concerned that we do need to definitely add another member to our board, possibly even 2 members with Vic leaving us.
You currently, Madam Chair, you're basically 2 members short at the moment.
Okay. Okay.
What's m-
Oh, we are. So
Who's moving?
maybe even 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, did we have a replacement?
Can
Mona
we
Cornegay
make
was not
recommendations,
replaced, was she?
Mr. Duke? Can we make recommendations to you or to Mayor Gillespie
Mayor
as to
Yes, ma'am. In fact, the
who we
way
feel
that-
would be a good asset to our board?
Yes, ma'am. The way that the appointment process works is that the mayor makes recommendations to the city council, and the council actually makes the appointments. So, and the way that's worked in the past has been kind of a cooperative process where they've kind of talked together about it. So I'm sure if you have interested folks that are folks that you think should be on this board, they'll take your recommendation.
Okay.
And if you have them, I'll pass them along.
Okay.
If I might,
Please.
I did want to make sure that, of course, everybody's heard that the Continental Legal or the Pratt Gin Company property is under contract, and of course, you will be seeing a lot of that. Anything that's done on that property will have to be receive certificate of appropriateness from this board. The good thing that you'll find very pleasing is that they are looking to take advantage of the Secretary of Interior's tax credits for historic preservation. So they're going to have to meet those standards, which if they meet those, they're obviously going to meet yours. So for the most part. But you still have to review it. Hopefully it'll be an easy review. So generally, if we're talking about construction signage, I would think that they would be receptive to any comments you've got, and I'll ask them to bring it before you. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the partnership in here that's doing the project to get them to make a presentation to you ahead of time so that you get a feel for what's coming. I've told folks that this is such a good project from what we know at this point that it's almost makes me nervous. It's so good. So, but I'll be glad to share some things with you when I know them or when I'm told I can release that. And we're trying to be mindful of the developer's schedule and his need for to dole it out as they want to and not share more than they allow us. So I appreciate your patience in that regard. So. Yes, ma'am, we're still.
Okay, anything else for Mr. Duke? Mayor Gillespie, would you like to come and tell us how wonderful we are at this time? And how glad you are that we're serving the city of Prattville?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, seriously, appreciate everything that you guys are doing. And whenever we met with some of the developers and everything, they went around downtown, and I really felt like they interviewed the whole city, downtown and the citizens that we were around. And I think that is truly one of the real reasons why they came here, is because of what's been going on in Prattville with everything from the Creek Walk to the redevelopment and everything else. So I think it's a combination of a big combination of why they're coming here, and you guys are part of that. And I'll be coming back before you guys in the next month or so, because I've got some things I need to get approved by you. So you'll see me in the near future besides that. But seriously, thank you for what you guys have been doing. It's not an easy job to sit up here and to try to come up with a compromise a lot of times and enforce the rules. And a lot of people really don't truly appreciate that until they've been here on either side of it. But anyway, thank you.
Not even with a sign. It's not easy.
Sometimes the little things can be some of the difficult things. I can only envision that whatever comes before you with Continental Eagle is probably going to be some of your easiest stuff. The signs, the little things, a lot of times are the tougher things. So anyway, but thank you.
Is there a motion at this time to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.